Good morning. We're now going to finish the second reading section of chapter 28, the phases of the moon, which I'm sure you already know. So the first word up there is the phases of the moon you had yesterday, the varying shape of the visible portion of the moon. And the diagram down here is very good. So the new moon, which you had a few days ago, new, novus, nova, novum, neuter, luna, lunae, feminine, first moon. A phase of the moon during which the visible moon facing the earth is unlit. No moon visible from Earth. So if you look at the diagram, the sun is way over there. Here's our new moon. So the sunlit side is totally opposite from us, so we can't see it. So you can say this is new moon, or if you come around the other side, you can say no moon, new moon, all right? And then you have this waxing crescent going up, getting bigger, getting bigger, getting bigger until you hit first quarter. So waxing crescent, Old English waxen to grow, become, and cresco, crescere, crevi, cretum, increase. A phase of the moon when a sliver of the moon becomes visible from Earth shortly after new moon until first quarter. Wow. Then we change the name. We say this is the gibbous moon. Waxing means getting larger, larger, larger. Did we have that? I need a little bit up here, don't I? Or waxing gibbous, sorry. Thank you. Waxing gibbous, a phase of the moon when the visible portion is larger than a semicircle and is still increasing. Now, why did I want first quarter? Well, coming around, we say full moon. That's really second quarter in some books. They call it full moon, and most people do call it full moon. Now, why do you have a full moon? Because it's off the 90-degree, 180-degree angle, slightly up, so the sun rays passes around the earth and hits the moon. And you get a full moon here. Sometimes it's called second quarter, full moon. Then they begin to get smaller, and that's called waning gibbous. So here we go, waning gibbous. Again, lesson, gibbous, this humped. A phase of the moon after full moon when the visible portion is larger than a semicircle and is decreasing in size. And it gets smaller, 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 and you get then the last quarter according to the diagram. Sometimes that's called third quarter. So different books have different names. And then that gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And where are we? Waning Crescent, getting smaller. A phase of the moon when only a sliver of the moon is visible from Earth shortly after third quarter until the new moon phase. Smaller, 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 smaller. Now, what do I like to show you? If I had an imaginary line here, the phases above the line are increasing, waxing, 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 waxing. The phases below the line are decreasing, waning, 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 waning. And what if I had an imaginary line this way? The ones on my right on this diagram are what? Crescents. The one on the left on my side are gibbous. It's an easy way to remember. So let's go through all of these again. This is the new moon or no moon because we can't see it. And it goes up, 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 up until this crescent gets bigger, bigger, waxing, waxing, bigger, bigger, waxing, 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 first quarter. 1/4 of the visible side of the moon we can see. We can't see the other part. Then it gets waxing gibbous, gibbous, bigger, 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 gibbous, gibbous until full moon. It could be second quarter, full moon. And then it gets smaller. Waning, 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 waning gibbous, waning gibbous, waning gibbous. And he says last quarter in this diagram, it could be third quarter. in some books. And then it gets what? Smaller crescent, smaller, smaller. That is waning crescent, until you can't see the moon. And that was about 4 days ago, I think, here in Washington. Now, that's an interesting thing I want to talk about. That takes about 29 days, okay, to go through that cycle. Therefore, some months, theoretically, could have 2 full moons in a month. So it defeats what the old notion was, full moon to full moon is a month. Well, some months, if they have 31 days, it's possible to have 2 full moons in that particular month. The last word that you have, word 28, is Earthshine, Middle English earthen, and I don't know how to say that word, sheenen, I guess, shine. The sunlight reflected off the surface of the earth. And that's important for astronomers who are using telescopes. You can't have a big telescope near a big city anymore. There's just too much light going up into the sky that it distorts what you want to see. This is why they wanted to send the satellites out, and the most famous one that we send out is the Hubble Telescope. So there is no Earthshine when they're using that telescope up there. And there are no clouds, no pollution. Talking about pollution, have you looked outside and see the beautiful skies lately? And notice why. We've had, what, over a month of half traffic, or maybe less than half traffic, over a month of half or less than half airplanes. So our atmosphere is clearing up. But we can't breathe very well in Washington today. Why? Because the pollen count is so high. I have a round dish on a table in the monastery courtyard, and it collected 1.5 inches of rain all last night. Very nice, slow rain, slow rain, slow rain. So it's hopefully to soak into the ground. I hope you all have had now a wonderful, wonderful time. And now we have finished the second section of the moon. The diagram that you saw me talk about is on 730 in your textbook. And I had another diagram on one of my notes sometimes. And I think I gave you that earlier in the school year. Now, look at our little friend at page 732. Okay, we're going to stop, and we'll see you tomorrow.